I started writing graffiti in the early 90s, around about 1993. Being a skateboarder, I used to go up to an abandoned adventure playground which was called Magic Mountain, and we used to skate and film and stuff up there and saw a lot of graffiti. Basically just got influenced by that, started doing a few outlines and worked on a word which I began writing basic with a K and then later changed it to basics with an X just to make it a little bit different, set myself apart from a lot of the other mainstream names. At Magic Mountain there was a lot of prolific graffiti writers from all around Australia. It was a very big hotspot at the time in the 90s. Names such as the Hype guys, Broken Seas, the DIA guys, THC guys, and there was a lot of quality work there at the time, probably some of the best stuff in Australia. Magic Mountain was an awesome playground for graffiti, but it also attracted a lot of bad characters lurking around, people doing drugs, junkies chasing you, trying to steal your wallet or your skateboard, and other riders trying to roll you for your paint, take your money, whatever they could get from you. So definitely had a lot of crazy experiences in that place. My style is definitely derived from the traditional New York era of graffiti, because that was a big influence on my upbringing. Basically drew from the traditional New York styles because I'm such an old writer, and even to this day I always keep my letter structure the traditional styles, no matter what type of graffiti I'm doing, whether it's a 3D style, flat style, or tag. From the subway art book and the New York era of graffiti, my biggest influence was Case 2, because he was like the king of style. He had a really cool style which I tried to replicate, but also liked Scene, PJ, Duster, all those guys which were doing, and Dondi, which were doing really big productions on trains, and it really amazed me how they could pull that off in the darkness of night and see it roll the next day through the city. Basically, I'm self-taught. I didn't really have any role models that showed me how to do anything with the spray can, so it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of paint wasting, a lot of drawing, and basically just pushing myself and trying new things and not being stuck in a rut with continually doing the same thing. Nowadays there's a lot more people painting, and it would be a lot easier as a young writer to be schooled up by older guys, whereas from my era there was absolutely no one in my area painting. The people that were painting in my area were from different parts of Queensland, New South Wales, Australia, so it was hard to have someone teach me. Okay, I've always found that I wanted to push the 3D lettering styles from the early 2000s, basically being influenced by a lot of the European 3D writers and trying to develop my own styles of those and keeping my true traditional New York letters in the three-dimensional pieces. So over the years I've chopped and changed a lot of different lettering, done mechanical style pieces, curly ones, triangular looking ones, but always keeping my letter structure true. Watching a movie was a Columbia introduction. One of the film companies had a really nice logo which was sharply beveled, which is like a centerpiece in the lettering, and basically I tried to replicate that as soon as I saw it onto a few of my pieces and thought it would make my two-dimensional pieces look a lot more three-dimensional, and then push that bevel into my three-dimensional pieces, making them look even more 3D and with a bit more detail and stuff. And over the years I've really tried to push my 3D pieces, working different effects into the 3D lettering, like cracks, drips, cuts, tears, and all sorts of different effects to try and make the detail a little bit finer on them. A custom cap that I've developed with help from a friend who showed me in 2001, which was Spec from Germany, is a stencil cap, or a hex cap it's called. The stencil cap is really good for fine detail and is really good for painting canvases and anything that's on a small scale, and especially portrait work and mini canvases and stuff, which is something that I've been working on a lot in the past 10 years. So it's definitely helping me get that extra detail onto my canvases and into the faces and portraits that I've been doing. So recently I've tried to do a bunch of different styles. One which comes to mind is the tearing of the letters to make it look like flesh tearing off each letter, with the underneath of the letter exposed, like the inside of it being sort of a cracked concrete feel to it. Collaborating with other writers is always good because you can use one another's strengths to create a really nice production. So say I was painting with a mate that's really good at portraits, we'd get him to do a centre portrait or booked mark portraits or something in the production, and then both paint our letters, or say I'm better at a background, we'd work on that. So you use one another's strengths, and it also helps to fill out a massive area if you're going to use a couple of people to collaborate with. I feel putting one another's techniques together is always an advantage too, because you get to pick up different people's techniques and perspectives on how to do different things, and it often pays off, and you can learn from one another and feed off one another's strengths. In 2008, the local train line was closed down, and there is a bunch of existing tunnels. Some of them are really long, some of them are really short. A lot of them have had a lot of people visit them because they're easy to access. A lot of them aren't easy to access, which is the ones that I like to paint because they're not so trashed. But they are almost like an art gallery and a time capsule, because there's been a lot of great artists from all around the world that love to go to them to paint because they make such a good photo. And they are a bit of a mission to get to, but that adds to the fun of it, I think. I think the pioneers of graffiti that are still writing do have that satisfying feeling still when they paint. I think that's why they haven't stopped painting. They've got that love for graffiti still there, and there's nothing like the feeling of painting. I think I'll be painting until I'm unable to pick a can up, I guess. So, yeah.